Welcome to the second module of this safety course. In this particular module, we are going to study about the concept of risk management. What are the different laws applicable in different contexts? Now, before we go into this particular module, just let's have a brief glimpse about that what we have studied in the last module. In the last module, we have got an idea about what is chemical process safety, hazard and risk. What are the different type of hazard present at workplace and how we can analyze those hazards? What are the different risk factor involved at the working place or in the process industries? Now, to quantify the things, we had a particular analysis about the loss statistics. We had studied about the different methods to calculate the accidents and how do we can go ahead with the quantitative things. Now, in this particular module, we are going to study about the concept of proper risk management, different type of risk control measures, what are the different hazardous substance rules, Factories Act and different environmental rules, etc. Now, there is a small concept of risk management because safety is a very good business and everywhere there is an involvement of economy. So, suppose you are going through a road or through a scooter or a car. Whenever you are putting your seat belts or a helmet, that means you are investing certain quantum of money towards your safe process. Likewise, safety is a very good business and has an optimal level of activity beyond which there are diminishing returns. Now, this is a brief glimpse about what is the risk management. Now, at the startup, you are having certain expenditure on safety. Now, obviously, your plants are prevented from blowing up and experience the worker safety because in the last module, we have studied that everything is governed by the economy. Now, result is the increased return due to the reduced loss expenditure and reduced loss in the man hour or work days. Now, if safety expenditure further increases, then the return increases more, but it may not be as much as before and achieved by the spending more money elsewhere. Then again you are pumping more money towards safety expenditure, the price of product increases and sale, obviously the sale will be on the lower side and people are spared from the injury. Of course, this is a good humanity, but the cost is decreased sale. Now finally, if you are pumping more and more money, then ultimately you will be uncompetitive and the cost of product will be on the higher side and as a result you will be out of the business. So each company needs to determine an appropriate level of safety expenditure beyond which the product cost or your process cost will be on the higher side and you will be out of the business. So this excessive expenses could have a higher safety returns if assigned to a different safety problem. So as an engineer, your objective is need to consider other alternatives while designing proper safety devices. Now, this is the particular concept of risk management. First thing, as per the last module, you need to identify the various hazards. You need to assess the consequences as well as the risk, what kind of the risk present, because if you recall the last module, we have analyzed that what is risk? Risk is the probability of any accident to occur. Then you need to determine the action control rating, that what is the consequences, and based on those consequences, based on the probability of the risk, you must implement the control measures to control the risk. Now, whenever you are implemented these type of control risk, then you must review the various control measures. So based on your control measures, you need to review and monitor continuously. Now, there are three different type of risk control measures: physical protection, procedural protection and educational protection. I am going to give a glimpse about that what kind of all three different protections. Now, first thing is the physical protection. You must follow the strict and rigorous approach in following the relevant standard codes and practice, because in every country, every state and every zone, they are having set of standards. Every industry, they are having set of standards. Every state, every legislation, they are having the set of codes and the usual safety practices. So you must follow all those safety standards, codes and practices. There are certain built-in safety devices and safety systems, so you must follow and you must be aware about those systems and devices. There are certain things like field monitors for different toxic gases, flammability meters to analyze any kind of presence of any kind of flammable mixtures. So you must be aware all those things. There are certain personal protective equipments through which you can protect yourself as well as your workers, like aprons, like safety goggles, like helmets, etc. So you must be aware, and all the workplaces must be equipped all such kind of PPEs. There are certain inherent passive protection system. So everybody should be aware of those kind of passive protection system. There are certain active come dynamic protection system. So these active or dynamic protection system, everybody should aware, and everybody should be well acquainted how to use all those kind of protective system. There are certain automatic protection system, those like fire monitors, fire sensors, etc. They can be actuated at the time of any eventuality. There must be certain improved waste management concept. We will go in detail that what is this improved waste management and good housekeeping in subsequent modules. Apart from this, there are certain procedural protections, like there must be fire emergency procedures. If you go to any hotel, a good quality hotel, you will find that behind of every door you are having the fire protocol, like what is the, where is the exit, where is the fire emergency exit, etc. So you must, for every process industry, you must have all kind of fire emergency procedure if you are dealing upon. There must be certain disaster preparedness plan. There is a concept of mutual aid system. So if anybody is in problem, or if it is in danger, suppose anybody inhales the toxic substance, then you must provide aid to that particular person. There must be no smoking policy. You must investigate all kind of accidents, even if there are near misses, because sometimes all those near misses play a very vital role, and sometimes these near misses may lead to a big disaster. There must be certain hazard identification through the safety committees, good housekeeping committees, safety audit committees. Remember, in the previous module, we have discussed about the two-tier audit system, internal audit and external audit. So you must follow that particular procedure. Conducting plant survey and safety survey, that is a must. There must be work permit system. Work permit system means, suppose if you are in a particular arena where you are dealing with a toxic substance, so everybody should not be allowed to enter in that particular arena, because there may be certain toxic vapors, those who may become the part and parcel of that particular visitor. So without having any kind of safety equipment or safety devices, he or she should not be allowed to enter that particular things. And before releasing the permit system, everybody should ensure that he is well equipped with all kind of safety system. You need to follow the statutory requirement as laid down by either state government or federal government or central government. There must be certain safety promotional activities, because nowadays everything is related to economy. Apart from this, safety is everyone's responsibility. So there must be some safety promotional scheme from the managerial aspect. There must be certain information should be placed regarding the unsafe condition. If you are entering into any unsafe arena, then the proper notes, placards should be displayed for all kind of unsafe condition. People must be aware about the material safety data sheet. MSDS stands for material safety data sheet. In the subsequent module, we will discuss in detail that what is material safety data sheet. There must be annual medical checkup for employees, so that you can be aware about any kind of toxic release. And sometimes, because of our body structure, we may get acclimatized to these toxic substances. So if anybody goes into the medical checkup, annual medical checkup, then definitely any kind of release may be detected, and the impact of that particular release to the employee may be detected. There are regular and preventive maintenance, well audited regular and preventive maintenance. The periodic testing of all kind of firefighting appliances, apart from all kind of toxic substance detection devices. There are certain educational protection. Everybody should go for mock fire drill if applicable in that particular plant. There are certain safety manuals, and everybody should follow all those safety manuals. There are regular safety and health news bulletins so that you may be aware that what is going on inside and outside the world. There are safety motivation scheme, and all these safety motivation schemes should be supported by management. There must be a periodic training program on safety, fire safety and hazardous properties of the material, so that your plant worker and officials, they are well aware, acquainted with what kind of hazardous process is going on and what kind of things going on within the plant. So training program is a must. The plant operating manual should be readily accessible to each and everybody, those who are involved in that particular process. Educating the public living nearby about the activities in the industry, and that is a must because I would like to give a brief example of Bhopal. In Bhopal, when the MIC was leaked, the public nearby, they didn't know that what is the particular chemical, and the prima facie information given to the public nearby was it is a chlorine gas. So and they didn't know that how to handle such kind of scenario. Now educating the public living nearby about the activities in the industry is must. The reason is that people should know that what kind of different activities is going on within the industrial premises, so that in case of any emergency they should be in a position to handle such kind of scenario. So educating as well as the training for the people nearby is essential. Now there is a growing importance of risk management. This is basically attributed to the proper legislation, the customer attitude, the societal expectations and the management attitude. Now every government and everybody is practically aware about that this is the gravity of not only environment as well as for the human being. So they have framed the proper legislation. There is a customer attitude as far as when as a customer we used to buy anything, then in the subconscious mind we used to follow the concept that did they follow all the legislation, all the environmental norm or the human aspect. There are certain societal expectations. I am going into detail in the subsequent slides. There must be the management attitude. The reason is that ultimately everything is again governed by the economy. So whenever there is a loss in company, that means there is a diminishing return to the company. So management attitudes, it's growing nowadays just to safeguard not only the environment but to the human being within the company, because ultimately whenever there is any kind of problem, then they need to pay the compensation. Now the second part of this particular module deals with the Hazardous Substance Rule 1986 and Factories Act 1948. The previously, before 1986, we used to follow the Factories Act 1948. Now there are certain constitutional provisions before we go into detail what is the Hazardous Substance Rule 1986. Now Constitution says, as according to the Article 21, this guarantees all the person a fundamental right to life and the personal liberty. This included a life of dignity to be lived in a proper environment, free of danger and diseases. That means to live in a safe and healthy environment is my fundamental right. Article 51 says the fundamental duty of every citizen and state to protect and improve the environment, including forest, lake, river and wildlife, to have a compassion for living creatures. So these two articles not only deals with the fundamental right and fundamental duty. So as a citizen, I am not allowed to encroach, I am not allowed to distort any kind of environment which may cause danger to anybody else. Now Article 48, that is the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, added a new directive principle. States shall endeavour to protect and improve the environment and safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. So all these three constitutional provisions made clear that no industry is allowed to discharge any kind of toxic, flammable or any kind of dangerous thing within the factory premises as well as the outside, so that in the event of any release, there is the problem may created. Now there are certain statutory remedies, that is the liability of the polluter under the law of tort. Now, what is law of tort? Law of tort says that civil wrong things for which the injured or sufferer party may seek the legal redressal, and the purpose is to ensure that people reasonably coexist with each other. So the law of tort is applicable to industry as well as the people, those who are living outside the particular industry. There must be certain avoidance of nuisance which annoys and hurts of everybody. Sometimes the whistle, sometimes of other machinery part, they may cause hurts or annoy any kind of person which is either nearby or working within the factory premises. The trespasses, the intentional or negligent interference with the personal or proprietary rights, etc. The negligence, duty to take care but not to principle of fault, that is, there must be certain strict liability. So based on this law of tort, the government, both the central as well as state governments, they are liable to frame certain statutory laws. Now, in a broad spectrum, we can divide our legislation into two aspects. One is the pre-Bhopal phase, another one is the post-Bhopal phase. No doubt, after independence or pre-independence era, we did have certain laws like Explosive Act 1884, the Petroleum Act 1934, the Factories Act 1948, the Insecticide Act 1968, and the Static and Mobile Pressure Vessel Rules 1981. Now, after Bhopal gas tragedy, because all the qualitative and quantitative parameters, they have changed after the Bhopal accident because of the death of thousands and thousands of people, then Government of India, they regulated and they frame the different laws which are covered under the Hazardous Substance Rule 1986. The key features of all these laws are focused on on-site safety of the workers, because again these are the key players. The legal system to regulate is to off-site emergency system, the safe storage of all kind of hazardous material, because there are certain laws through which you cannot store more than the stipulated things within the premises. The safe transportation of all kind of hazardous plus inflammable materials. Now, previously it was never in existence, but after the certain accident, they framed this type of rules. There was again a Factories Act amendment in 1987. Now, as per the preamble, the main objective for the amendment of the Factories Act was to provide the safeguard to be adopted in using and handling of hazardous substance, because previously there was hardly existence of any law in such periphery. Now, to lay down the emergency standards and measures, sometimes any kind of hazardous substance may get leaked. Then what kind of measures, emergency standards or emergency protocols we need to follow. To lay down the procedure for sitting of hazardous industry. Now, there are several type of zones in which you can lay down all kind of these industries. Plus, there are certain zones where you cannot lay down or you cannot start those hazardous industries. So, the government laid down the procedure for setting of hazardous industries to ensure the workers' participation. In the previous module, we studied that it's an everyone's responsibility. So, the legislation ensured that it should be the workers' participation baseline for effective safety management. There are certain provisions made by these Factories Amendment Act in 1987. The provisions are Section 41B, compulsory disclosure of information by the occupier. In this case, the occupier is the industry owner or the corporation, those who own that particular industry. They must be in a position to disclose the information. Now, these information are of various categories. There is a specific responsibility of the occupier in relation to the hazardous process. This is enlisted in Section 41C. The Section 41G deals with the workers' participation in the safety management. This includes the training as well as the safety knowledge. Those we have discussed in the first module, that is the cup of tea with 5 ingredients. The Section 41H says the right of worker to warn about the imminent danger. That includes that as a worker, it is my right to have a knowledge that what kind of hazardous activity is going on within my workplace. So it is my right, so that mentally I should be prepared to handle such kind of situation. Because if I am not prepared with these kind of things, then definitely I will not be in a position to help others out. There are certain Environmental Protection Act and the first amendment or first act was passed in 1986. The definition of major accident is a part and parcel of this particular act. The major accident means an incident involving loss of life inside or outside the site, or 10 or more injuries inside and or one or more injuries outside, or release of toxic chemical or explosion or fire of spillages of hazardous chemical resulting in on-site or off-site emergencies or damage to equipment leading to stoppage of process or adverse effect to the environment. Now, if you go through this particular definition, we can see that all kind of hazardous activities are covered, maybe on-site, maybe off-site, maybe within the plant, maybe the outside the plant. So all occupier or industrial person must be aware that particular basic definition. Now, as far as the storage in the plant premises is concerned, we are having three different type of aspect: low level storage, medium level storage and high level storage. Now, low level storage, there are certain actions needed by the occupier and that has to be carried out by the occupier as far as the law says. You must identify the major accident hazards. That is the first thing. The second thing is that you need to take the steps to prevent the major accident and to limit the consequences, because previously we have identified those hazardous scenarios. We know that what are the consequences, so we have to take the proper step to prevent such kind of major accidents. That you have to train the person at site to provide equipment for safety. These these equipment may be in terms of the personal protective equipment. These may be in terms of active or passive protective equipments. You need to notify the major accident within 48 hours. The reason is that the civil authorities may take the appropriate action accordingly. It is the responsibility of the industry person to prepare the MSDS of all hazardous plus all the normal chemical present within the plant premises. This MSDS gives you all kind of information: physical, chemical, reactivity, name of the supplier, all kind of information. In different modules we will discuss that what are the integral part of this MSDS. It is the responsibility of industry person or occupier to label all containers containing the hazardous chemicals, so that it is well notified by all the person, those who are working within that particular arena. Inform import of hazardous material. So all the regulatory bodies must be properly informed about the import of any kind of hazardous material, so that they may inspect, they may check, they may audit that whether you have followed the safety norms or not. The medium level aspect says give the necessary information to the authorities for any kind of off-site plant. You must be in liaising with the local authorities or local person. The informed person in the neighborhood regarding the nature of hazards and safety measures, and you must supply the proper information, do's and don'ts. So you must inform, you must train the neighbor or the person, those who are living outside the particular plant zone, that what kind of hazardous activity is going on within the plant premises, and in case of any eventuality, how we can handle the scenario. So do's and don'ts, you must provide all kind of information, because one of the major accident took place because of this the person, they didn't follow the do's and don'ts. Notify the site and obtain the necessary approval, because sometimes we feel that these kind of approval takes time and unusual delay, but it is again give a safeguard to the industry. notify the changes if any. Sometimes process modification or sometimes environmental norms or energy efficiency norms, they force us to change the process methodology. So in case of any changeover, please notify all kind of things. Prepare on-site emergency plan, and that is a must, because in case of anything, because anything can be hazardous, like even water may become the fatal. So in case of any emergency, you must prepare an on-site emergency plan. Frequently, you must go for the mock drill. Usual protocol says every 6 months, but as quickly as possible or as early as possible, you must go for this mock drill concept. And you must prepare the mock drill report, because sometimes any kind of deficiency, any kind of lackness, give you proper review. Sometimes it may lead to the correctiveness of your system. Another thing is the high level chemical storage, and this is a very severe one. This is the action, that is the forward a copy of safety audit with the comments to the authorities. You must perform, before handling such type of scenario, you must perform the safety audit, and you need to forward a copy of this particular safety audit with your comments as an engineer, with your comments to the authority. So sometimes you may suggest any corrective measures, so authority may take an appropriate decision, and those decisions can be implemented on site. You must prepare a safety report. You must update safety report based on your mock drill, based on the chemical in question, based on even weather reports, etc. You must perform the independent safety audit by an external expert. That is a must, so that, because sometimes we may acclimatize to the scenario, so we may ignore certain type of lackness in the safety. So external auditor may trap all those lackness, and this gives you a corrective measures. The carry out the fresh safety audit once in a year apart from your regular internal audit. Now there must be certain things related to the on-site emergency plan by the occupier. Occupier to prepare and keep up to date on-site emergency plan with the specific detailing dealing with the major accident on-site, name of the person responsible for the safety on-site at the time of eventuality, name of the authorized person to take the action as per the plan in case of an emergency. Suppose a toxic substance releases. Now, if a worker who is sometimes who is illiterate, he or she may not be in a position to provide the adequate information to handle such kind of scenario. What kind of the remedial measures? So the notification in this regard, that the person who is in charge, his or her contact detail, give a proper help in that particular aspect. Occupier to ensure that on-site plan includes modification, and all person on site affected by the plan, they are informed accordingly. They must conduct the mock drill of on-site emergency plan in every 6 months. Detailed report of mock drill to be maintained immediately available to the authorities, so that in case of any deficiency, the corrective measures can be taken up. Authority to prepare and keep up to date off-site emergency plan, giving how emergencies arising out of possible major accident on site would be dealt with. In case of any emergency, they must design, because sometimes the modification on a building where your hazardous activity is going on, sometimes you need to modify those building plans, etc. It is the authority who usually takes the decision. The authority to consult the occupier and other persons. The authority to provide the information to the occupiers from off-site plan relating to his duties. The authorities to ensure the conducting a rehearsal of the off-site emergency plan once in a year, because this is the legislative binding, and the authorities, they may enforce this activity to the occupier. Occupier in this particular case is the industrial person. Now, information to be given to person liable to be affected by major accident. Now, the occupier or industrial person to arrange to inform person directly or through district administration or authority likely to be the affected area, the nature of major accident hazards, the safety measures, do's and don'ts to be adopted in case of any major accident. And remember, in the Bhopal gas tragedy, there was a lack of communication between the occupier in that particular case was Union Carbide, and the civil authorities, that was the Bhopal administration. Because Bhopal, as the prima facie, Bhopal administration didn't know that what this particular gas is. Now the major chemical accident means an occurrence including any major emission, fire or explosion involving one or more hazardous chemical and resulting from uncontrolled development in the course of industrial activity or due to the natural event leading to serious effect, both immediate or delayed, inside or outside the installation. They cause a substantial loss of life and property, including the adverse effect on the environment. And sometimes these kind of major accident may lead to the permanent environmental conditional damage. So remember, this particular definition must be in your mind, so that you must be aware that what kind of control, because sometimes the chemical thermal runaway reaction, these reactions are practically uncontrolled. So you need to identify that what can go wrong. Now there are different class of levels, and everybody should be aware, and all the plant workers, they should be aware about these kind of levels, that what it is means for. Like this is the explosive one, and sometimes non-inflammable compressed gas, they are there, and a flammable gas. So you cannot have the same type of protocol for both the scenarios. So these labels indicate, because sometimes some of the worker may be illiterate. So these kind of labels or depiction gives a proper idea. There are certain poisonous gases, so the activity or the safety measures would be different, those with the compared to the flammable gases, etc. There are certain flammable liquids, so sometimes the workers may not be in a position to identify the things accordingly. There are certain flammable solids. Spontaneously combustible, there are certain chemicals in the industry, they are spontaneously, if they become in the contact with air, they can be combustible, and this may lead to the several other accidents. There are certain scenario, those are dangerous when wet. There are certain oxidizing agents like benzoyl peroxide, etc. There are certain organic peroxides. So all kind of things must be listed, not only in terms of text form but also in the pictorial form. Now in the subsequent modules, we will discuss the 4 significant disasters. The reason is that 3 major things occur in any kind of chemical industry in terms of disaster: fire, explosion and toxic release. So there are 4 significant accidents or disaster in the chemical industry. These are the landmark accidents. A lot of things happen after the accident, a lot of theories being proposed, a lot of statistical information has been changed after these accidents. Flixborough, this dealt with the fire, Sweso, Bhopal and Jaipur. In the subsequent modules, we will discuss all these accidents in detail. So in this particular module, we have discussed about the various hazardous rules applicable in Indian context, and every state and central government, they are free to choose, free to frame the different laws based on the benefits of the citizen. And we we have chosen the concept of fixation of responsibilities. So by these words, I am summing up this particular module. Thank you very much.